Good morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Lonsdorf, and I'm the UU Board President this year, and I just want to welcome everyone to the Unitarian Universalist congregation this morning. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity, and we hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. We welcome all those who treasure freedom of conscience in the search for truth, and we promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home.
This morning we light our chalice for the light that we need in the world at this time. We light our chalice for those like Norbert Čapek, who spoke up against the Nazi regime, spoke for the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and a belief in love and inclusion. And we speak up now for those who raise their voices in sadness and horror at what is happening to those who do not have power and who are undergoing stress and heartbreak and wondering how these things are happening, and sometimes knowing that that there are only so many options and only so many answers, and hoping for more light in the world. And so I light this candle for the light that we can bring to one another with our voices and our hearts and our care and our love, when we speak up, when we listen, and when we have solidarity with the love that holds us all.
Hi, this is Ken Adler from the Social Responsibility Committee. I just wanted to let you know about a couple opportunities that are coming up for volunteering in the month of June. First of all, this Friday, June 5th, our congregation will be serving food at the community table. Actually, we'll be preparing the food there. And shifts start there at 3 p.m. and then another shift starts at 4:45 p.m. This is a very safe environment. They practice very strict social distancing and mask wearing, and this is something that you could consider having your family become involved in too. That evening, we also will be working a shift at the Sojourner House. We need just one more volunteer to make this happen. This will be involved mainly with meal preparation there. And then on Wednesday, July 17th, our congregation will be preparing lunch at the community table. Shifts start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and once again, they practice very good social distancing there. If you'd like to sign up, you can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our the UU Eau Claire website, or you can wait until tomorrow when the UU Connections come out, and they have a link on there for you to sign up for these things. Thanks a lot.
Today is a new day. We celebrate Flower Communion today and celebrate the diversity of gifts that each member brings, each friend brings, just like flowers that are unique in their beauty, shape, and sizes. It takes many different kinds of gifts to make this world beautiful. Today, as we celebrate our Flower Communion, we will also recognize our outgoing board president and other board members. And we will also celebrate the graduates of 2020. I hope that you are finding beauty in these days that are so hard for our country. And as we learn to speak up for the beauty of diversity and lift up our voices in solidarity, what a perfect day to celebrate Flower Communion and the story of Norbert Capek, who brought this to our Unitarian Universalist congregation. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of this wonderful Sunday. A few announcements. There will be information about our plant exchange next Sunday coming out in our UU Connections. There will be a chance to sign up to come to a drive-up plant exchange. Normally we have done this as a service, but we will have our normal service next Sunday during the 10 o'clock hour online. And then in the afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m., people will have a chance to sign up for a drive-up curbside plant exchange where you can come and you'll want to wear a mask, and we'll practice 6-foot distancing and have a chance to come to UUC and pick up plants on the sidewalk. And there'll be more information about that in our online newsletter, which will be posted on June 1st, and also in UU Connections. And those who have plants and who like to share them, there will be time to drop them off 11:30 till 1 o'clock that Sunday. But again, I encourage you on June 1st to go online to uueauclaire.com, check out our newsletter, and find out more about our curbside plant exchange, which will happen on Sunday afternoon, next Sunday.
In this hour, may we be open to a rededication of treasured friendships, a renewal of spirit. May we relinquish the worries and anxieties of the past week, if just for this hour, and regain our strength through this community of faith.
Let us give thanks for a bouquet of people. We give thanks for children, like tulips and iris. They multiply around us, making the world ever more filled with color, beauty, and new life. May we bless them as they replant themselves ever further from us, knowing that they need their own space to grow into. We give thanks for generous friends, as constant in bloom as echinacea, and whose gifts lift up our body and spirit. We give thanks for feisty friends, as indomitable as geraniums, and for continuous friends who, like bittersweet and ivy, hold on and never let go, and can never be gotten rid of. For crotchety friends, as prickly as rose bushes, their beauty a secret that is only discovered through careful gardening. for surprising friends who at first glance seem dour and then blossom into joy as quickly as for Cynthia, and funny friends, silly as snapdragons, and serious friends, complex as chrysanthemums, for comfortable friends, their gentle presence as smooth, as soothing as the sweet smell of lilacs, for stormy weather friends who stand by us in hard times, like lily of the valley that cannot be deterred by shade or shadow, for old friends nodding like sunflowers in the evening time, and young friends coming on fast as flocks. Our friends as unpretentious as dogwood, as persistent as pachysandra, as steadfast as azalea, and who, like snowdrops, can be counted on to see you through the winter and remind you that spring always comes. For loving friends who wind around us like wisteria and embrace us despite our blights, wilts, and witherings. And finally, for forget me not friends, gone but never forgotten. Their beauty lives on in our memories and hearts. For this bouquet of people who brighten our lives each in their own way, we give thanks. Amen.
The Ship of State by Jeff Liebman. The Greek philosopher Plato compared the human mind to a ship on which the sailors had mutinied and locked the captain and the navigator in a cabin. On such a ship, the sailors feel free to steer the ship as they like, but their direction is erratic. The goal of our religious education and youth programming in Unitarian Universalist congregations has been to help you free your navigator and captain, and to guide you as you have learned to take command of your ship of life. Today, you sail your ship out of the safe harbor of this church community, but know that your ship joins a mighty fleet of kindred souls facing the storms together. Today, you steer to ports unknown, but know that wherever you drop anchor, fellow travelers are there to greet you, to guide you, and to be your companions, whatever joys or difficulties your journey may bring. Congratulations to graduates of 2020.
I wanted to thank our
board president this year, Amanda Lonsdorf. She has served in so many ways. Her passion for this congregation, all the meetings and emails, and her dedication to worship and our youth. And I'm just so grateful for everything that she's done this year. And it's a 3-year commitment. She started as vice president, and this year she's serving as president, and next year she'll be our outgoing president. So thank you so much, Amanda.
Yeah, I was happy to do it. I really enjoyed just kind of getting to see how things work and working with so many great people to get things done and kind of work things out in the congregation and figure out how to support each other. That's been really fantastic to get to be a part of.
Well, we wanted to also note that we have 5 outgoing board members who have been at the meetings and done the hard work, especially during this time when UUC has been responding to COVID-19 and trying to keep our members safe and continue our community. I know that Amanda wanted to extend some special thanks to them as well.
Oh, definitely. I really appreciate all of our board members, but especially those that are going to be, heading off and leaving our little group coming up with all of their thoughtfulness and their time and their laughter and their creativity with dealing with lots of different situations. So I really appreciate all the folks. I'll kind of list them all off here. So we have Danny Higley, who is our program liaison, and Jennifer Blakely-Mode, who's our treasurer, and Charlotte Johnson, who's our youth liaison, and Dawn Mowry is our current past president, and Sarah Zoig, who is our RE liaison. So they've been a great to work with. I really personally appreciate having been able to work with them, and I really appreciate all of their time and effort that they've taken, because we've had a couple of long meetings here or there with trying to make plans, but they've all been very I think know the importance of what we're doing, especially right now. So I just want to appreciate all of their time and effort.
Well, thank you from the staff and from the congregation. And I don't think people know all of the work behind, whenever I have something that's on my mind, sometimes I'll email Amanda or call Amanda, and being board president is a big commitment, and being on the board is also, checking with committees and just really getting into depth with the life of the congregation. So thank you. And we sent you a little stress relief thank you gift.
It was very cute. I really like this idea of getting a little package from the local store. I always like plugging them because they're awesome. I love that store, so it was really kind of sweet to get something because I haven't gone there for a while. So had that little stress-free lotion, which I definitely appreciate lotion this time of the year, and some chocolates and lip balm, and a lovely little I think gingerbread candle. So I think it's really cute and a very sweet way to do it, and supporting a local business, which is even better, especially right now, but in general. So very, very sweet. Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, normally we would clap, and so I'm sure virtually you're getting smiles and thank yous. So anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you in another board meeting soon. The last one is president.
Board meeting coming soon.
The Flower Communion service was created by Norbert Capek, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. He introduced this special service in June 1923 to meet the need for something symbolic that would bind people together and help people feel more closely. He adapted the traditional Christian communion using the native beauty of the countryside and to provide elements that were genuine for his congregation. His wife, Maja, suggested that flowers are gifts of nature, just as human beings are gifts to one another. Together, the Capeks created the Flower Communion, where every person brings a flower that stands for his or her gifts to the congregation. Then every person takes home a different flower, treasuring the gifts brought to the congregation by someone else. The communion was such a success that it was held each year. And then, just as many times that we find in history, times got hard. During World War II in 1940, Maja was forced to stay in the United States. And when the war was over, she had learned that Norbert Capek had died in a Nazi concentration camp. Maja was continuing to live in the United States and help people separated from their families by the war. During her years here, she introduced the flower communion to Unitarian congregations throughout the country, and it became a tradition in many congregations. And Norbert Capek was jailed and detained for being different. and as a Unitarian minister, he did die in a Nazi concentration camp. And it's times like those, you wonder, how did he keep up hope? And I know that he wrote during his time. And this is one way to honor that even in the worst times, there is beauty and there is hope, and continuing the hope in the face of hard times is a message that we all need right now. By exchanging flowers, as we have done in previous services, we show our willingness to walk together, grateful for our differences, because they let us learn from one another. This communion of sharing is essential for a free people of a free religion. And we think about the things that we exchange with one another. I think about what I've learned in almost 10 years of serving this congregation. I've learned from different board presidents. Each one has taught me a new way of leadership, and the way that they handled board meetings, or in the way that they communicated, or the history or aspects that they saw, or what they saw was important in congregational life. I've learned much at the bedside of people that I was trying to care for. Sometimes I felt like they were caring for me as much as I tried to care for them. And I wonder what gifts that you have learned from different members, whether singing in choir, or through small groups like book group, or being an RE teacher, learning from the wisdom of 4-year-olds, and learning about different pronouns and the pronouns that we should use. I realized that earlier in my language, I said his and her. And I thought, I need to change that to be more inclusive, because there are people among us that use they, them, their. And we're always learning. And I think a lot of it can be hard. It's about respect. And right now in our country, many people are learning about privilege and about white privilege. And it's hard. It's hard, and it's hard for the people most that are affected by it. And I hope that we will keep learning. And it can be a painful experience sometimes to learn and to confront things about ourselves that are hard. But there's also that beauty in growing. And just like a flower, we plant a seed, and sometimes different things grow. I found a cucumber in my garden that I didn't expect. And it's so fun to see it just growing out there. And I wonder if the rabbits will get it. But hey, it's out there right now. And it's beautiful. What seeds are you planting? What are you growing in your garden during this hard time?
Morning. My name is Megan Fuchile, and I'm reading Learning from Daffodils by Ruth E. Gibson. When you look at a daffodil, there are lots of things you notice. Almost no one ever notices the little withered brown bit at the base of the flower. But it's really important. When the daffodils come up from the ground, it's still pretty hard, and there's sometimes cold and snow. So at first, the daffodils have a tough green skin protecting their blossoms. After it gets warmer, the daffodil doesn't need this protection, and it shrivels and dies. Often in our lives, just as for the daffodil, some part of us has to shrivel up and die so that some new part of us can grow and give beauty to the world. Oddly enough, though, the dead, shriveled up part of the daffodil doesn't fall away. There are two things we can learn from a daffodil to help ourselves and each other. We can be brave and wise enough when the time comes to push out from under the tough skins of our souls that protect us from all that is hard and harsh that can damage the most fragile parts of ourselves. We can let some parts of ourselves die so that new parts of ourselves can live in beauty. We can hold on to the shriveled up dead bits, especially if doing so helps us remember to honor and value all parts of ourselves, all parts of our existence. Just because we don't need that part or that way of being in the world anymore doesn't mean that that part has no value. It was very necessary to have that protection then, and a very good reminder to appreciate and remember it now.
Now is the time in our service where we celebrate our joys and concerns. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to share in this community, you're welcome to post it on our Facebook feed if you're joining us on Facebook. Or if you feel like you would like to talk with a lay minister or with myself, you're welcome to contact us for pastoral care. That's what our community is all about, is about holding one another in these times. And I'd like to especially lift up a candle for George Floyd, for Minneapolis and Atlanta, and for all of those who are hurting in the face of so much oppression that is around the country and endemic in our systems of power. And I know that prayers and candles are just one aspect, and there's so much change that needs to happen. But that solidarity and that sense of understanding that there is a problem is often the first step. And so I want to honor the lives that have been lost, that should not have been lost, and to say that I lift up with my own candle that Black Lives Matter. And I lift up the pain of not always knowing how to be an ally or how to participate. This afternoon, Salika Ducksworth-Lawton has organized a vigil and a community conversation at 3 p.m. And if you would like more information about that, you can message the UUC Facebook page, and I'd be happy to share that information with you. And I hope that in your own lives you are finding ways to take care of yourselves and one another. This is a hard time, and there's a lot going on in the news, and every day is a challenge. And that's why even in the midst of hard times, we look to flowers and we look to community and beauty to help us transcend those things that are hard. I'd like to also lift up a candle for those who have reached out and asked me how they can help others, either through volunteering or through reaching out to members and friends by calling or sending cards. Some of you have asked me if there are members or friends in need. And we all have ways in which we can connect with others and also to receive. If there is something that that this congregation can help you with, I hope that you will reach out. There are times to give, and there are also times to receive. And that's also an aspect of our flower communion service today. Normally, we would bring one flower and then leave with a different one. And today we do it virtually. We give the flower of our heart, and I hope you accept the gifts that others are giving with their words and the pictures and the beautiful music. Much thanks to Pat Bonner and Julia and David and those who have shared their time in these services and all the time that it takes to edit. Pat Bonner has done some beautiful editing of the music, and It's just there's so many things to be grateful for. I honor those candles that are not being lit right now. I honor those joys and concerns that are too tender to escape the folds of your heart. We are with you. We are together, if not in body, but in spirit and in heart. I'm going to close our joys and concerns with these words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Now is the time for giving. Though we will not be on site to pass the plate, we ask that you consider making a donation online at uueauclair.com or text to give. Text the amount you want to give to 84321. Text HELP for additional text to give options. May's 50/50 recipient is the Chippewa Valley Clinic. The mission of the Chippewa Valley Free Clinic is to provide quality health care and advocacy for individuals of the Chippewa Valley who have no reasonable health care alternative. Through the efforts of volunteer professionals, the clinic provides free medical, dental, mental health, lifestyle coaching, ophthalmology, and social work services and medications. With gratitude for the abundance in our lives, we give to help people in need and to support the work of this congregation. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Bring one flower as you come, and as you go take another. The things we offer of ourselves, we find reflected in each other. Bring one flower as you come, and as you go take another. The things we offer of ourselves, we find reflected in each other. Every flower on earth is different, each a separate face. Each of us will carry something different to this place.
Bring one flower as you
Bring one
come,
flower as you
and
come,
as you go take
and as you
another.
go take
The things we
another.
offer of
The things we
ourselves,
offer of
we find
ourselves,
reflected in
we
each
find reflected
other.
in every blade of grass, in every needle on each tree. Each of us is present in each flower that we see. Bring one flower as you come,
Bring one flower as you
and as you
come,
go take
and
another.
as you go take
The things we
another.
offer of
The things we
ourselves,
offer of
we find
ourselves,
reflected in
we
each
find
other.
reflected in each
Bring one
other.
flower as you come, bring one flower as you go, and as you go, the things we offer of ourselves, we offer of ourselves, reflected in each other, reflected in each other.
When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, Dr. Čapek was sent to Dachau, where he was killed the next year during a Nazi medical experiment. This gentle man suffered a cruel death, but his message of hope and human decency lives on through the flower communion, which is widely celebrated today. It is a noble and meaning-filled ritual, and I wanted to share one of the prayers that he would say after conducting the flower communion, and he would say he consecrated the flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessings on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection, and of devotion. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. And I think that's one of the most important lessons of Flower Communion, and why I enjoy celebrating it each year, is that the smallest members of our congregation to the tallest, the oldest, all the different kinds of people come forward, and they offer a different flower, and then they leave with a different flower. And it recognizes that we all have something to offer to the world. And I think that's something that is precious. And it takes all kinds of people to do all kinds of things. And that's the hope in the world, is that we could live in a world where we celebrate one another's differences. And we also find those things that we have in common, and we work together. And we believe in the inherent goodness of people. And the Nazis found Dr. Kapit's message too dangerous to the Reich for him to be allowed to live, and that was the court records that were present for him. And that's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that something like that existed. It's heartbreaking right now that there is so much pain and suffering in the world around us in so many ways. And that's why we keep showing up with love. That's why we do what we can to be love in the world. And sometimes that's done with flowers and in so many different ways. You are an original blessing. You matter and have worth, and I hope you know it. And I hope you know that other people have original blessing and worth, even the ones that are hard to understand, hard to talk to, that we are all part of this world together. Amen, and blessed be.
Each of us is a flower with a delicate beauty uniquely our own.
We may be like sunflowers, turning always towards the light.
May our lives bloom like the flowers. We may be like night-blooming cereus, only displaying our fragrant petals when it is dark and we think no one can see.
May our lives bloom like flowers.
We may be hothouse flowers, far from our native lands, cautiously tended within a harsh and unfamiliar climate.
May our lives bloom like flowers.
We may be gray-headed like dandelions, eager to launch the new generation with the first strong gust of wind, past our own bright youth, but ready to pass our wisdom on in precious gossamer-carried seeds.
May our lives bloom like flowers. Some of us sometimes spring up overnight and fade in the hot glare.
May our lives bloom like the flowers. Some of us, sometimes, are roses, slowly assembling petal after tightly wrapped petal and revealing our full glory only when everything is in place.
May our lives bloom like flowers.
Sometimes we are roadside weeds, loveliness bursting improbably from the dust and debris.
May our lives bloom like flowers.
May we offer our beauty with the simplicity of flowers, expecting no recognition, hoping for nothing, giving out of what we are, and knowing it is enough.
May our lives bloom like flowers.
Amen, and blessed be.
Now is the time in our service where we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we are together again.
We use flowers in our ceremony this morning to help us symbolize the love that is hidden deep inside us.
Flowers are beautiful, and so are the feelings of love among people. Their beauty cannot be measured, and neither can the feelings of people be measured. Their life is short, but new flowers will replace the flowers that die, and new love can come into our hearts.
This bud is for the new babies who have joined us this year.
This flower represents the people living in our community and all over the world. While we are not face to face, we can connect heart to heart because we know that their hopes are like our hopes. Their pain is like our pain. Their love like our love.
While we cannot be together to exchange flowers, as is the tradition for this service, we can know that each of us is touched by the beauty of the earth by each unique flower we gather in this virtual community in awe of nature.
These flowers so lovely today will fade tomorrow.
But the love that humans choose to share with each other will go on and on. Love can change the world.
We have shared our flowers and our love to represent that while each of us is unique and wonderful, together our gifts and strengths ripple into the world.